How's it going, everybody? I'm Joey of Underage Packers. Today, I wanted to talk about the defensive coordinator job opening at 1265 Lombardi. The Green Bay Packers are not renewing Mike Pettine's contract after a frustrating year. His defense just started to get things rolling near the latter half of the season. But 3 years in, he hasn't shown anything too impressive, and it's safe to say he is not utilizing his talent to the full ability. All right, that's Mike Pettine. Today, I wanted to talk about my three favorites for the Packers defense coordinator job opening. Now, I think a lot of people are taking this way too seriously, looking way too much into it as a fan. I mean, there's a reason Matt LaFleur is getting paid millions to do this, and I'm just a 15-year-old talking to his camera. But I took a look at each of these experiences, the guys that they're interviewing. I took a look at each of their experiences, which staffs they worked under, the relations to Matt LaFleur, and all of that good stuff. So let's get started with coach number one, Jim Leonhard. Now, this is my favorite. This is in no particular order. And I think a lot of people, they get their Wisconsin bias going, and they think too much of this. Like I was saying, we are not doomed if we don't hire Jim Leonhard. Jim Leonhard is not the only option out there for us. He is not the best option out there for us, in my opinion. But I do like his experience as a player. I like what he's done at Wisconsin in his first few years. But you do have to consider he just joined the staff in 2016, got promoted to defense coordinator in 2017, and has been at that job for 4 years. So anytime you jump in from a college defense coordinator to NFL defense coordinator, that's a pretty big jump. And also considering he's a pretty young coach, he doesn't have that experience as a player, but he worked with Mike Pettine. Most of his scheme is based off and closely related to Mike Pettine and Rex Ryan. So, are we just finding the replacement of Mike Pettine with a different face, with a 50-pound slider, The upside you also do have to consider with that is, if it is pretty similar to Mike Pettine, you aren't putting too much of a learning curve on your defense. And if you're on a win now or a win in the next 2 or 3 years mode with Aaron Rodgers, you kind of want that. You don't want too much of a learning curve. So if Jim Leonhard is able to come in here, teach a pretty similar scheme, fix up a few of the problems as the defensive back, take a perspective from the defense back's point of mind, so they're not going 7 yards off on 3rd and 2nd, fix up those little minute errors while still keeping that same kind of Mike Pettine style, while also bringing in a new leadership. I would absolutely love that. However, I don't see this happening. I don't see the Packers hiring, but I will not be complaining too much if the Packers did decide on him. Next up, we probably have my favorite out of these three, and that is Ejiro Evero. I'm probably pronouncing that name wrong, and you've probably never heard of him until this past week, just like me. I really like Ejiro just because of his experience, his relations to Matt, and he's just worked under some really good staffs, and I like what he's done in LA. So from 2017 to 2020, he has been the LA Rams safety coach, so he does have that glorious Sean McVay relation, as well as knowing Matt LaFleur. He was with the Green Bay Packers in 2016 as a defense quality control coach. Don't ask me what that means. From 2011 to 2015, he was with Jim Harbaugh in San Francisco, and from 2007 to 2009, he was with the Buccaneers as a defensive quality control coach. He has the experience, he has the track record to back it up with his success in LA. I mean, they've had a great secondary these past few years, so I'd love to have a young guy in here. He was also a player for a few years. Bring a young guy in here, and once again, just bring in that new leadership, which has been lacking for the Packers at the defense coordinator position for 15 years, since Dom Capers was hired. So I love Ejiro, but once again, you can't look too much into this. There's a reason that we're all here tweeting on our phones, acting like we know something, and Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst are getting paid to do this. So I'm not going to sit here and say we're doomed to get either one of these guys, but I do like the resume that Ejiro presents. And finally, we have Ryan Nielsen from the New Orleans Saints. He is currently their defensive line coach and was just recently promoted to assistant head coach. Anytime you got the trust on Sean Payton on you, that's a pretty good award, pretty good statement right there for Nielsen. Once again, this is just another one of those situations where the Saints have had really good front seven, really good defensive front these past few years. So you can look at that and say, I like what he presents there. He also has the most coaching experience out of any coach I mentioned today. He started with UCS in 2002 as a volunteer assistant. He's been working his way up. The Saints in 2017 was his first NFL job. He's moved around quite a lot, but his longest tenure outside of New Orleans was from 2011 to 2016 with North Carolina State Cornhuskers. I'm not sure how he did there, but I like his resume. I like that he worked with the Saints as well, and I think he get a fresh breed of experience and young leadership that would really fit well with Matt LaFleur and Nathaniel Hackett and this whole Green Bay Packers staff. That's what I got for you today. Let me know your favorites for the defensive coordinator position in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter. That's all I got for you today. As always, go Pack Go.